Okay.
Good day. Hey, loves. Can we lower that a little bit? Just barely. Is it too much? Yes, a little too much. I guess not. Okay. Well, good day. We have Instagram right here, um, YouTube, Facebook.
Welcome back to the Holistic Freedom Seekers podcast. Very, very, very excited to share with you today. My name is Coach Soul.
And I'm Coach Tensi.
We are Ufulu Child, and this is the Holistic Freedom Seekers podcast, where we cover our 5-prong healing system that consists of the concepts be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. Today is Friday, so it's Shine Day. SHINE is an acronym for sharing honest, insightful, and nourishing expressions with one another with no strings attached. Just sharing honest, insightful, nourishing expressions. The rest of that is just understood with each other with no strings attached. And
we have our celebrity guest, Omi, our daughter, here as well. Today's topic is pretty cool. It's, what is it, babe? Seeds of Change. Go ahead.
Today we're going to talk about how to lead the next generation. We're going to talk about how teaching the next generation can lead to world transformation, basically. I just recently wrote a book, and it's in the publishing phase at the moment. And when it comes out, you'll see that in the book, I actually share my personal...
They'll be back.
Yeah, they'll be back. I share my personal take on a simple formula for changing the world. And I even say in the intro, this is not a book to make you rich, or this is not a book to talk about what are the specific steps you have to take to reach a specific, like leadership kind of goal or anything like that. This is simply a book that can help guide you to, the top of your potential to change the world. And you can, in fact, change the world. So our mission is laid out in this book, and I came to these conclusions, through the lessons that I learned from life itself. Where I remember when I was first having conversations with people on how we can address some of the most complicated ills of the world that we face. From the hunger to the immense poverty, to the freedom differential, to the medicine differential, to the power differential between small groups of people having huge amounts of power and huge amounts of people having been turned into slaves, right? And all of these ills that we face in the world, I remember having conversations with people talking about how we address these ills, and everybody had the same kind of response. Oh, everybody's too far gone. We're way too far messed up in our human condition to ever really expect a grand change. All that we can do is what we personally can do in our own home, and there's no real hope for coming together and creating a better world, because of how we're like prone to war is something that most people believe. We're just prone to war. We're prone to appeal to authority figures. We're prone to over worship and underact, all of these things. And so, very naturally, in having all of these conversations and learning from these people, because I wasn't just arguing with them, I wasn't just saying, no, you're wrong because of this, no, you're wrong because of that. I learned very naturally that, okay, then our target, for, let's say, for the few of us that get it, and the few of us that, despite having the disadvantages, are still going to fight, our target cannot be the current generation. This is what I came to. Our target has to be the children, has to be the next generation. And it doesn't just mean the 3-year-olds that can now, just now speak a good amount of, their home language. It means, children up to, let's say, 25, right? So children and very young adults. That has to be our target. The few of us that are going to, reopen the door for real huge change. And so, in coming to this conclusion, the first thing that I said we would have to do, the first part of the formula for changing the world, is teaching the truth about the world. Because most people feel like the world operates in the way that it's presented, meaning in the way that the media portrays that the world operates, and in the way that your job makes it seem like the world operates, that people are honest about the infrastructure and the bureaucratic policy that are being followed from the top down, when in fact, from the top down, the infrastructure is much more or at the top, I should say, at the very top of industries, at the very top of worldview, worldview overlords, aka religion and new age spirituality and atheism. And at the top of these structures, at the top of the medical industry, at the top of all of these things. Okay. The rules, the regulations, the bureaucratic policies, they're much more fluid. They just weave throughout each other, and the enforcement of the policies, the enforcement of, the police and all of that, that's more so for the common folk. We can see that in the way that certain cases are played out in the court system, right? Where some people who may be very adept at telling the truth in a way that doesn't get them in trouble, but garners them a huge audience, and they're telling a truth that contradicts the mainstream media's truth. As soon as they do something even slightly against the rules, they get, let's say, $1 billion lawsuit that they can't pay, and now they're forced into servitude or forced into a cage or something like that. They're forced into silence. And of course, I'm speaking about the very recent court case, dealing with someone who, the leader of InfoWars, we'll just put it like that. Don't want to say his name because I don't want anything to glitch on the interwebs. But in teaching the truth about the world, there's 3 things that are most important. One is teaching true history, all the way from our true human origins, how human beings came to be, as well as the truth about money, the truth about government, truth about all of these historical things that have set into motion what is normalized for, again, the masses, but not really adhered to in the same way at the very top. Okay. Secondly, besides the truth of history, is the truth of yourself, meaning the truth of your internal self, the truth of how your mind works, how psychology, how your mental state affects and can be altered and can be manipulated, as well as can be improved and can be strengthened, and it can be sharpened, right? So your internal environment, the truth about yourself. And lastly is the truth about the spiritual creative essence that governs this whole place, the truth about God, the truth about whatever you call that force. Okay. And the truth is singular. And I'm speaking in a way that suggests there is one truth about it, but I don't mean there's one religion or something like that. What I mean is there are infinite ways to discover the truth, but the truth is not in in infinite forms. There are infinite forms of truth discovery. There is one truth to discover. And so the truth about spirituality, the truth about self, and the mental, uh, psychological, emotional parts of yourself that can be and have been manipulated and how to strengthen them, and the truth about our history. These things being taught to the children, to at least the next generation, is the solution. And, it's funny when there's an information differential, when there's an education differential, right? When there's a group of people that know way more about our true history, ourself, the makeup of our mind, and the truth about spirituality, when there's a differential between how much this group knows and how much this group knows, this group can totally do a number on this group that this group is just not even ready for. So when there's an information differential, regardless of if there's a strength differential, like a physical capabilities differential on the other side, right? Let's say this group that doesn't know much about our history and God and um, uh, the self, the brain, the mind, right? This group doesn't know much, but they're huge in numbers, and all of their numbers are like warrior class in strength, okay, in just bodily strength. But this class has all of the information about history, psychology, and spirituality. This group will always be superior to this group. Okay, the power differential between those who are in the know and those who are not, those who are ignorant or nescient, is undeniable when you look at history, when you look at true history. The world has always been run not by the warrior class that is just so strong they can overpower everybody that gets in their way. It's actually run by those that can outspeak, outthink, and outmaneuver and outnavigate the strong. And that's just the way that it goes. So how can we integrate truth in education and educate the next generation? Well, the few of us that are dedicated to this, sharing of truth must do must first of all, the medium through which information is freely shared is called the internet. That's the medium that we go to. And you ask anybody that has had some sort of grand awakening, big, huge change to their worldview in the direction of truth that you know of, ask them how they woke up, they will tell you a large part of it was due to the research that they were doing on the internet. They won't say, you know, I've read all of these books. This is the, these are the books. They'll have some books that were instrumental, and people on the internet that are a part of the great, the great fight against this human condition, this current human condition, often do recommend books as well. But most of the research, most of the engagement, most of the activity that goes on is via the internet. So that's the medium. And our, mission is to put on the internet these truths. Okay. So that's a way to, so whether you're starting a podcast, whether you're just sharing some artwork that is, truth-based artwork, whether you are more so on the presentation style and you make presentations and it takes you a while to make one, and then you make one and you put that out there, you do a presentation, whatever it is, taking to the internet and sharing the truth about those three huge umbrella topics, but you can spend a lifetime teaching the truth about just one of them, right? But teaching the truth about those three things, at least, is a good solution for now, while we are still working to get to a place where we as human beings are morally able to check in and talk with each other and actually build real community. Because right now, community of in person is very hard to come by and keep sustainable due to like how much things cost, and just there's just a lot of things that are kind of quote unquote in the way of us sustaining community by way of like in person. But on the internet, we still can find a community. As a matter of fact, this is, this podcast can be a part of you starting a community yourself in search of truth and in search of how to share the truth and how to assimilate the truth into your own lives. So the next step, after we are openly sharing what the truth is and utilizing this medium to do so, is to nurture self-discovery in these children. Self-discovery is not done on the internet. Self-discovery cannot be done on anything external. And so in nurturing self-discovery, that will come by way of the suggested actions that we give these children, for them to take. And again, children in this episode means from 0 to about 25, 24 years old. Okay. When the brain is in developing mode and it's not, locked into its development after 25, 26 to 28, I think 25 to 28. Nurturing self-discovery. So the importance of helping children discover the truth about themselves is the importance of showing them the methods and techniques of self-reflection. Okay, how to assimilate what you're learning about yourself, what you're experiencing within yourself, and what others experience when they're around yourself. How to reflect on that and how to assimilate the good and grow from the bad, as well as, form the correct habits. All of these things are what we should suggest in our, content on this thing called the internet. And lastly, there's the creativity. So we have to foster imagination in children. We have to create a spaces, if you will, create spaces for their imagination to remain as infinite as possible. So, a 5-year-old's imagination is much more vast and much more fluid, and you could say unbound, as a 45-year-old's imagination. A 45-year-old's imagination is much more structured, right? Much more streamlined and much more linear than a 5-year-old's. So there's an importance in giving children the freedom to explore creative solutions to real world issues, and then being the guiding, the sort of guiding structure, the guiding light in keeping a supportive atmosphere around the solutions that they now bring into your homes and into your experiences. I remember when I was very young and I would try and come up with solutions to some of the world's problems. Let's say when I was 16 or 18 years old, a lot of the times my solutions would be like immediately shut down, right? I would come across like a DVD or some sort of presentation that somebody put out on the internet. I would bring that to my parents and I would say, hey, we should watch this together. This is very interesting and it could lead to real social progress and it could lead to real world change. And of course, they wouldn't really entertain what I had to share, although they may watch the first 30 minutes or so of whatever presentation, get some sort of conclusion about what it's about and how they already experienced people with this kind of solution, and then completely dismiss anything that I had to say. That was kind of what I went through when I would provide solutions when I was younger. So fostering is a morally sound support system and supportive atmosphere for when the next generation's more vast imagination than we have comes to the table with their own formulas for changing the world and their own solutions. So, to break down my 2-step process one more time as we come closer to the close. Step 1, teaching the children the truth about the world, about themselves, and about the divine force that guides us all. Okay? And then step 2, providing a moral and ethical support system and supportive environment to enact their creative and imaginative solutions. We have an inferior imagination, again, to, let's say, your average 7-year-old. They just have a inferior in size, bigger imagination than a 40-year-old. But the 40-year-old can provide the guidance and has the experience to say, okay, if we choose that and we go that route, here's the signs of danger to look out for, and here's the ways to, you could say, put more fuel in your steps, in your rocket. Put more fuel in the thing. Here's the little details that my experience has given me surrounding your creative solution. And of course, just for those that are super extreme and take things out of context, this does not mean make the 7-year-olds in charge of what we do to change the world. It just means providing morally sound support to their creative solutions and not being so stuck in believing in an arrogant belief that they're not smart enough to come up with workable solutions. That's all it means. So as you already know, as time goes by and technology makes things more and more possible, there are tons and tons and tons of 12-year-old entrepreneurs that are changing the way that we do water bottles, and 15-year-old come up with the scientific solution for sustainable energy. And I don't mean sustainable energy in the way that the World Economic Forum talks about sustainable energy, because they use that phrase in a very evil way. But diabolical. But you know,
We can do this, y'all.
there's so many examples of young potential leaders in world changing activity that there'd be, you know, too many to name. So
And we have a little young leader that
potential
is,
leader.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the rise. Okay, it's a blessing to be here with you all. I was very fortunate to catch the 2 steps of the formula near the tail end, and I just think that was amazing. And it's kind of like, you know, when you hear truth being said from someone, and it just hits you in the heart, and it's like, wow, I can do that too. I can do this as well. And you get reminded of the fact that you are greater than what you thought you were. And if that resonates with you, let's just cement that and just ground that idea. You are greater than you think that you are, or that you thought that you were. And we are going to get through this not alone, but what you can do is you can rise and elevate by showing the next generation, by showing your kids, by showing your nieces, your nephews, by showing the people in your community, by being the living example. Be the mentor, be the educator, be the parent that doesn't just say what to do, but you're also doing it. You're being the proof that you can do it, right? So it's like, that's empowering. We have to be the proof, because kids will do what they see and not what they're told.
Right.
They will do what they see, because environment is everything. Environment is everything.
Yeah.
Period.
So thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. It is episode 65, y'all.
Wow.
Episode 65. We're trying to do our part to bring some of this truth in internet form into your lives and into your children's lives.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in. Hey there. Make sure you tune in next week, next Monday, for B-Day.
And share this episode with a friend. Share this episode with someone, whether they're a community leader or a parent, or they are someone that just is a caregiver and cares about the next generation.
Meet us in the comments to talk about how you shine, whether you're shining on your community, or you're shining on the internet to strangers, or you're shining on your family, how you share honest, insightful, nourishing expressions. And like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow the page, and we'll see you guys on Monday on B-Day. Peace.
Take care. Yeah.